You're watching the Original Music Podcast with your hosts Raymond Hems and Rick Gaffman.
Watch it all burn. Watch it all burn.
All right, here we go. Episode 42. We have Hannah Murphy in studio. She's an acoustic singer-songwriter out of the Atlanta area now, but I guess previously from Albany, Georgia. How are you doing today, Hannah?
I'm doing really well. I'm super excited to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you, especially in studio. I met you, I would say, 2 or 3 months ago, and you were doing a singer-songwriter event at Mad Life. And what do they call that? Songwriters?
Songwriters and storytellers.
And how did you get hooked up with that?
I've been friends with Greg, who does the booking for that, on Facebook for a few years. I'd previously played something similar, and he put on his Facebook, he was like, if you want to be on this sort of lineup, give me a call. And I very quickly gave him a call.
Yeah.
I said, yes, I would like to do this. Thank
Yeah. Do you find that when opportunities knock, you better say yes and respond? Otherwise, they may not knock again?
The right type of opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when it comes to like songwriting opportunities and the ability to do that sort of thing, I'm really eager to do that.
Right.
But not every opportunity is equal.
Yeah. And how do you go about vetting them?
Sometimes it's just in how they propose it.
Yeah.
And kind of the interactions that I have with the people asking. Sometimes I'll go and look at the event space and kind of take a look. But for the most part, when it comes to like opening for bands or doing songwriter in the round type situations, I'm pretty inclined to say yes.
Yeah. Have you found yourself, how long have you been up here in the Atlanta area?
I've been up here for about 9 years now.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, Albany kind of raised me through my adolescence, but Atlanta kind of shaped me a little bit more as an adult.
Sure.
So I love it.
Yeah. And every artist has different types of stories. Have you had any bad situations where you thought you were signing up to do this and it was totally not what you were expecting?
Yes. Short answer, yes.
Elaborate on one of those.
2 things kind of stick out to me. One of them was this like open call audition that I got invited to come to, which was cool because I'd never done anything like that for some sort of like singing competition show, which I had always been like, nah, not really in for it. But the hook was, well, we might have you play original music. And I was like, oh, perfect.
Cool.
And then that went well, flew out to LA, and I really understood the difference between like the TV industry and the music industry. So that was one thing. And then I was also invited to kind of be a part of this songwriter workshop award show thing a few years ago. And it was just really unorganized.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have a set list. And I remember the person who organized it was like, I'm just going to play it by ear who's going to go on. And I was like,
no. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
And then he called me to go on, and I got physically ill and was literally like, okay. And I bombed, and it was a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
That, of course, I wrote songs about. And I was like, okay, we're just going to go with the motion as best as we can.
Yeah. I think every experience like that is definitely a learning experience that can go into your future songwriting for sure. Let's talk about the one that you went to LA. Was that a competition that we would know about? It
had a few seasons. I auditioned for their first season, and it was called The Four.
Okay.
It was really big overseas, and they were giving it a go. And I mean, the experience, even the other kind of not so great experience I was super grateful for it. I had never done anything like that. You know, they flew me to LA, they
Right.
put me in a hotel, they
Right.
gave me some money.
Yeah.
I did the audition process, the whole kit and caboodle. And to be honest, I really didn't listen to anything they had to tell me about what I should be doing.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, I kind of suck at what you're telling me to do, but I
Right.
know that if I do what I want to do, it'll be fine.
Sure.
And
Sure.
it was. I mean,
Yeah.
they gave me the contract, and it was a really bad contract, so
Yeah.
I said no.
Yeah. Well, that's a hard thing to, as a young artist, to not sign the first piece of paper that gets put in front of you is a very difficult decision to make. How did you go through deciphering? Did you have any kind of legal help, parental help?
So as far as they know,
Right.
I had a legal team
Right.
because they actually wanted me to sign some sort of contract before I even did my audition, which seemed kind of strange to me.
Yes.
And I was only 19 at the time. And I was there by myself,
Yep.
which is fine. And there was actually one individual who was a lawyer who was kind of a family friend. And he was like, I think you should do it. I think it would be a great opportunity. And I was like, they want to pay me a teacher salary for 7 albums if I win.
Right.
That just sounds bad.
Right.
And I was in school full time at the time on a full ride scholarship, and I was way more engaged in the local music scene. And I was just I was really content with like what I was doing.
Sure.
And I didn't feel like it was appropriate for me to uproot all of that to
Yeah.
sign this. You know, it just didn't feel very authentic to me and what my goals were.
Yeah. 7 albums. That's
Isn't that
that feels a bit aggressive.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I watched it when it aired, and the artists that were picked to go on were incredible artists. Haven't heard anything from them.
Right. Right.
You know, and that was 6 years ago.
Yeah. And that's called getting pigeonholed into a deal that you can't get out of. You know.
And because I've been in this performing and meeting so many incredible musicians
Yeah.
in Atlanta and from Albany,
Sure.
who went on to go on American Idol and do all that stuff. I mean, I have personal stories from people I love and adore as artists that were like, don't do it.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to do it.
You know, that's funny that you say that, because I've met several people also that have been through the American Idol and the Voice ride, we'll say, and all of them kind of come back with the same type thing, saying it's really who's got the biggest sap story of somebody in their family was sick, they were sick, they got talent. It's just, they all come back saying it's very scripted.
Yeah, I mean, one of my best friends and wonderful artists, Alex Guthrie, he's super fantastic in the local area, just one of the best vocalists ever. I mean, he was telling me all sorts of stuff when he went on The Voice, and I was like, okay, heard.
Yeah.
And even the contestants I met when I was in LA doing that audition who had done other shows were like,
Yeah.
it's...
Be careful what you say.
Be careful. Exactly.
I mean, I guess I get it. They're in a business of essentially a big cattle call of a ton of talent. I mean, there's, back in the early days of American Idol, it was 2 good artists and 3 let's have a laugh kind of a thing. And it's gotten, maybe they don't air the bad auditions as much as they used to. But I mean, like William Hung, She Bang, that was a joke. Pants on the Ground, that was a joke. But
and you have to do a prelim audition to get to where they were. Too.
yeah, yeah. So they
like
knew.
they had already signed contracts.
Oh wow.
They would have had to have signed contracts already to even get there.
To get to that filming.
From what I understand of the process.
Yeah. Wow. And so the producers know, okay, this is gonna be terrible, but it's gonna be terrible funny. Let's air it. Mm-hmm. And but it seems like now, 5, 8, 10, 12 years later, man, it's just talent after talent after talent. For the most part, everybody's pretty good.
And honestly, some of those shows are the reason why I tend to not enjoy doing covers as much.
Right.
Because I see these amazing artists who are talented but they have people who aren't them picking songs that they sing for these shows.
Right.
And then those same people are like, it just wasn't the right song choice. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, well,
Yeah.
I could have told you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the artist could have probably knew that going in, but they give it their all and they do an amazing job with what they have.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's 2023. Let people sing their own music.
Yeah, you would think. I have heard like I think the last season of American Idol. I always like to watch them, and The Voice especially. I will only watch it through the blinds.
I love the voice blind auditions.
Yeah.
That is just, I love the family reactions. And I just imagine how insane it must feel to get one of those judges to turn their chairs around.
And that's really all you're trying to do is get one, and then you get, a few, and that's the thing. So, but with the American Idol thing this past season, I saw a couple of contestants that would just take a song that we all know, say, there's one in my mind, I can't remember what it was, but just say Tiny Dancer from Elton John, and just flipped it on its head to make it sound totally like theirs.
And I love that.
That's what it's all about to me. It's when an artist can take a song and turn it into their own, and it sounds like Hannah, then they're doing the right thing. If you're doing a cover, guys and girls, just do it your way and try everything you can to make it better than, or just different than the original.
Yeah.
We've heard the original,
Exactly.
Your college, full ride. This I did not know. What college did you go to, and what was the full ride for?
Easy. I was at Kennesaw at the time, and when I say full ride, I mean I was this like perfect little combo of broke and smart.
Right.
So together with Hope and Pell, I was getting paid to go to school.
Right.
And I was like really in it because I'm a perfectionist, and so I was like I had to do the music thing and I had to make straight A's.
Yeah.
And that was really important to me. Eventually I burnt out and had to take a big long break.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to get my degree.
Still trying to get back up.
But if somebody came and was like, you're going to write songs for a living and never have to use your degree, I'd be like, sweet.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
That kind of sounds like the Nashville model. Have you thought about, and I've heard horror stories on this angle as well, where these talented writers, such as yourself, would go to Nashville and they'd be hired by the publishing company to essentially drink coffee and write songs every day of, every day, except for probably Saturday, Sunday when they would gig or do whatever. Is something like that interesting to you?
I think in my head that sounds like the dream, honestly, but I wonder if that sort of like monotony, machinery like process would maybe like take the wind out of my sails a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially just because the music I write is so personal.
Yeah.
And I'm so attached to it. I mean, there are some songs I write where I'm like, hypothetically, if somebody was like, I want to buy that, I'd be like, yeah, you could probably sing it better than me anyways, take it.
Yeah.
But there are some songs, most of my songs, I write in little bursts.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes I won't write it all for like a month or two, and then sometimes I'll write 5 songs in a week if I'm just really feeling the need to let some pressure out of the cooker is how I describe it.
I think that's a very good description. That it builds up and builds up, and you like. We were talking about you like to mow the grass on the John Deere, but it's nice to let it grow up just a little bit so that when you mow, you really see a difference, right?
Well, and I think there's something to be said for how real life outside of like artistic expression can kind of get the better of you and take so much of your time. And then it's like between the hours of 2 and 5 a.m. on a random Tuesday, you're like, I'm just going to write half an album.
Right.
Because everything that's going on outside of this little room is just overwhelming for me, and I need to talk about it.
Yeah. And I would assume that those sessions for you are with your parlor guitar or with your other acoustic, just you and an acoustic, a notepad. When you write, do you type? Do you handwrite?
It just depends. I really go back and forth. It's actually really difficult because I have like a manila folder of loose leaf paper with all my songs on it.
Yeah.
And then I have an entire like phone notebook of songs that I've typed up. It just depends. So like sometimes if I'm in bed trying to go to bed and I can just hear it, I'll have to just type it on my phone and I'll be like, I'll get to you in the morning.
Yeah. But you always try to capture it though, right?
Always try to capture it. It won't let me sleep.
Right. I agree. Same thing.
And I love that.
Yeah.
it's like I don't want to mistake the way I'm talking about it. Like it keeps me up at night and I can't,
Well,
but it's whenever I write a song, there is just this weird feeling of relief and gratitude. And
sure.
sometimes there's crying.
Yeah. Well,
And sometimes I write a song and I'm like, this isn't for anybody else but me.
yeah.
And it's
So it's
awesome.
one that you never really intend to record or release.
Or less about recording and releasing. I love the freedom that recording gives an artist to pretty much just put anything down and put it out there and see who would appreciate it. But when it comes to like performing live, which is the majority of what I've done over the past like 11 years,
Yeah.
people aren't going to want to hear the super sad stuff in a dive bar.
Sure. Yeah.
So in those settings, it's not particularly appropriate, nor would it be perceived in the way I'd want it to be.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Of every artist tends to write a certain way. Whether it's like melancholy in a minor key or upbeat in a major key or those types of things. And when you're writing, for me, I'm speaking for me. When I'm writing, I don't ever have the venue in which it will be performed in my mind when I'm creating the idea. I don't care where it's going to be played. And I think that a lot of artists, maybe they, if you're writing EDM music, I think you probably have an idea of the venue in which your music's going to be pumping out the subs and the mains. But I think for what you're doing and what stuff that I do, I assume it's going to be in a venue that's like a Mad Life or possibly a theater type thing, but it's definitely not. It's definitely not the the smoky dive bar that serves really good chicken wings.
Well, and those bars raised me. Right. That's where I have started.
Yeah.
That's and they've been good to me too. But I find that I do have some people. I think everybody has experienced this where someone's like, you should write a happy song. And it's like, I'm going to write what I write. Right. And you're going to like it or you're not.
Yeah.
But I'll take those comments and be like, I'm going to write a happy song. And I'll sit down and I won't write anything.
Yeah.
Nothing worth showing. And even the songs that I'm like, this is going to be a happy song. I'll start writing it.
Yeah.
It's basically just sad in G major. Okay.
Yeah.
Like it's not,
right.
It's not, or not sad, but just,
yeah.
It's not like...
When it's time for a happy song, it'll come out.
Not like a catchy, poppy, happy song.
Right.
Like, I really struggle, I guess, with that. I think there's a skill to it.
Sure.
Maybe that's not my skill.
Yeah. Well, I think the skill to it, like just a Britney Spears type of artist. I think that most of that comes from the producers and the people that are behind the console that are putting samples and loops and all these different things to make it dancey and all that kind of stuff. I think of her as just getting the vocal down and doing her little sound effect sounds.
I've often thought about how wild it would be to just take my saddest song and give it to a pop producer and just be like, make it a happy song.
Yeah. Right?
I think it'd be like the biggest, weirdest
remix.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be fun. I'd be open to it.
Well, let's play the song that you were starting to bring the show in with. What's the name of it, and what's the background on this one?
So it's called Tired Man, and it is very much kind of the embodiment of the kind of darker, muddier bits of where I grew up. Not necessarily bad, but just some of the themes of my childhood, which were, I grew up in Albany, Georgia, which is southwest.
Is that farming community?
Yes, very big agricultural community. So, but also really big church community. I mean, churches on every corner, but also extreme poverty.
Yep.
And so this song kind of captures that, just like I said, kind of muddy country bluegrass, kind of sorrowful, but also perseverance. The song really is like packed with a lot of themes for me that I love.
And who is the Tired Man?
So that's kind of the irony of the song is it's actually more about all the tired women in my family.
Okay.
So like the beginning of the last verse is like hard pressed as a woman and tired as a man. And so that's kind of like leaning towards, because I grew up with all women.
Yeah.
We were on our own. A lot of single moms.
Gotcha.
We mowed the lawn. We mowed the lawn.
Yeah.
We took care of the land. We paid the bills.
Yep.
We drank the booze.
Yep.
We got mean. We got mad.
Yeah.
And so the tired man is actually kind of more like the tired women.
Yeah.
But I just kind of settled on it and I thought it was cool.
Well, I tell you what, when I heard it, I was amazed. So let's hear Tired Man, Hannah Murphy.
Now I live my whole life, one foot in the grave. Raised on strife under all my shame. Hold it all in and don't you dare break. Be good to your mama and give what you take. You can't count all the bottles, don't open the door. Stand by the Bible, I close to the floor. Break down your empire and live in the dirt. Stand by your revival and pray that it works. Stand by your revival and watch it all burn. You talk lots about God, but you're so far away from the sun when he rises and the debts that you pay. Sell your soul for love and cash your mistakes. Long roads made for walking and finding your way. You can't count all the bottles, don't open the door. Stand by the Bible, lie close to the floor. Break down your empire and live in the dirt. Stand by your revival and pray that it works. Stand by your revival and watch it all burn. Watch it all burn. Hard pressed as a woman and tired as a man. Watch it crumble to pieces through my tired hands. Build me up so slowly and quick with a backhand. Pray with your eyes open and hope that you land. Oh, you can't count all the bottles, don't open the door. Stand by the Bible, lie close to the floor. Break down your empire and live in the dirt. Stand by
That's what I'm talking about. Hannah Murphy music. Tired Man might be one of my favorite songs I've ever heard in my life.
That is really cool.
It just hits it hits where I'm from too. I'm from Appalachia.
So there's a big Appalachian
Yeah.
presence in this song.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to say it knowing that I'm not really from Appalachia.
Yeah. That's
but I definitely draw inspiration from that sort of timbre.
that is. I love this the lyric about tear down the empire. How does that line go?
Break down your empire and live in the dirt.
Yeah.
So that line is kind of the self-destructive tendencies that come along with kind of like guilt, shame, and alcohol.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the theme a little.
Sure.
Because I love my upbringing, but I saw a lot of really strong women struggle.
Sure.
And that's kind of what this song is about.
Yeah, it's about hard times. I totally can see this song, and I could see a video for this of a self-destructive relationship, and this song in the background, and this is a hit. Just so you know, don't sign any contracts for 7 records.
Yeah. Right? Like, what are they going to even do with that? What are some producers in LA going to do with that Appalachian tune, right?
Well, they're going to put it on they're going to put it in a movie, and it's going to be like the Star is Born remake that just came out a couple years ago. Do you remember that movie?
Oh yeah.
The scene where like there's a car driving by the shed where he assumably hung himself or whatever happened in there. This song playing in the background on a scene like that, that's huge.
Yeah.
But wow. Well, I appreciate you playing that one for sure, right out the gate.
Well, I know you like that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the song that kind of made your ears perk up a
Oh
little.
man, yeah. And there were a lot. So that night that I saw you at the show, I think that it went around like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, there were about 5.
Yeah, and I think you guys on stage were like, one more, we're doing another one? Oh, no, okay. So it was fun to watch everybody kind of pull out of their back pocket what we like to call, clips. Like if, encore songs, 2 or 3 songs that you have in your back pocket. When you're doing songwriter in the round type things like that, singer-songwriter things, it does seem to be kind of unorganized.
Yeah, because I even told us, they were like, well, you could do like 4 or 5 songs depending on like how long everybody, says their stories. And so I had already made 3, 4, 5, and 6 song set lists.
Oh, good.
Just in case, because I can't get anywhere on time, but I over prepare.
Right.
And so I was ready. I had that in my back pocket. And I was so excited that I got to play the song that I got to play.
Yeah.
Too.
Now, you didn't, you played that one probably like third or fourth?
It was my second to last song, actually.
Okay, well, you killed him with that one.
Yeah, I would, because, the poor sound guys, I did get there early, and we didn't have like a set sound check time.
Sure.
We just kind of rolled in and did it. And I was having tech difficulties with this guitar.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, by the way, I have a second guitar. I felt like such a diva. And I rolled in and I was like, okay, this is what we're dealing with. And they kind of, I was sensing some like, of course she brought 2 guitars.
Yeah.
But it was.
Don't feel bad. I bring 4 to every show.
I was going to say, well, they didn't seem so upset about it when I performed.
Exactly. I mean, that's.
And they made me sound great also.
Yeah.
So shout out to the sound guys at Mad Life. They did a good job.
I think the biggest thing that they worry about on those types of things, if you're, is when you're unplugging and plugging back in, if you don't have a way to mute the signal on the stage, they kind of have to watch and kind of gauge, all right, she's about to unplug, boom, mute the channel kind of thing.
Yeah, I think, and I'm actually really good about stuff like that because I'm so worried that I'm going to mess up the tech in my stuff. Yeah. I think there was one time that I just got a little nervous and kind of blacked out and was like,
Well, let's get you changed over to the other guitar,
okay.
and then we'll come back and we'll talk about what's the next song that you would like to do.
I think I'm going to do a song called Home. I'm in the process of recording it right now, and I think that'll probably be one of the first singles I release.
Can I raise my hand on wanting to help you record Tired Man?
Yeah. I mean...
Is that recorded yet?
No. Well, okay, we've started. I have about 4 takes that I'm going to have to go in and like patch and do all that stuff.
Let's talk about the recording process. For you doing your acoustic type vibe, do you like to have a metronome? Do you like to try to just let it flow?
Do you see this face? I hate a metronome, but it's important.
It is important.
It's important, especially for any sort of song that I plan to have more than just my guitar. There are 2 songs that I did not record with a click because I knew anything I wanted to add to it, either I could do myself or I wasn't planning on adding anything to it. And Home is actually one of those songs.
Right.
But every other song I hate the...
Yeah. Well, there's one thing that with Tired Man, there's one thing that you got going for you. It's in 6/8. It kind of swings.
Yeah, there's definitely a swing. So when we recorded that, we used a like GarageBand drum plugin.
Yeah.
And it was not the...
Yeah, correct. You can get it to swing and
it was just different effects that kind of were both in and out of the pocket that helped me keep track, as opposed to like just a simple like 4/4 type situation where I'm anticipating it. I really struggle. Because I just play in the moment.
Well, the best way to get comfortable with playing with a click is playing with a click.
Yeah.
And that's when you're in a studio like this, like you say, we put the click down, we get your scratch guitar and scratch vocal down, and then I have a Hammond player come in to put Hammond tracks. It's kind of the only way to do it where everybody's on the same page.
And I've accepted that. I just, sometimes it takes me a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So that's why I like recording with friends.
Sure.
I mean, so far, if you recorded Tired Man with me, you'd be the 3rd producer on the record.
Yeah, right.
Which would be cool because I always wanted it to be a community effort.
Now, how big and there are a couple of, and we're talking about Tired Man because I love the song, but
me too. There's
a couple of spots in the song where it just drops, and almost like a heartbeat going,
or a stomp.
Yeah, and then how big in say some of the choruses, how big and bombastic would you want to build that up to?
I think the last chorus is super important to get up super, super high because then at the very, very end I drop it so low, almost like a whisper, because I just want to leave people a couple of measures to just be like.
Yeah, that's what I hear as well. Just big dynamic, bam, 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 drop.
Which is kind of how I describe like the characters, I guess, that inspired the song. Is like, I saw people have such high highs and these big bursts of energy and momentum and ideas and creativity, and then I would see them so low.
Yep, in the dirt.
And that was so moving and meaningful for me as a kid and as an artist, for sure. So yeah, definitely, I think it has the dynamics in that song are super fun to play with too.
Yeah, and important for the song itself. All right, well, let's get you set up here to do Home, and then we'll listen to that track as well.
Okay. Perfect. It's also in drop D, so
nice.
It's kind of
my favorite.
Oh yeah. Question: when can I?
Clear.
Perfect. Also, can I get a little more in my monitors
of everything?
Everything.
Yep.
The spinning.
That's a good song.
I really love that song. I mean, it's just a cool little.
I think that song is your trademark there.
I mean, it's just different from my other songs too. I think I do tend to lean the soft folk.
Yeah.
And they can be more, and I would like them to be more, but that song is really the only one like it that I've written. I've written maybe like one more song in the same tuning, but up a couple half steps.
Yeah.
Like I went to New Orleans, and that was super.
Yeah. Like I noticed also that you don't tend to capo.
Oh, I do.
Do you?
The songs that I chose for Mad Life, I wanted them to be very like full and mature.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just, yeah. I mean, there was a time when I was younger where I would pretty much capo all my songs.
Yeah. Well, it has to do with kind of fitting the range of your voice at whatever, you said you were singing at 16, 15 years old, 13, I think you said you got that guitar.
So the story behind my Santa Cruz guitar, and I mean, that's a really nice guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely didn't pay for it at 13, and neither did my single mother.
Right.
My dad was a guitar player.
Okay. Well, that starts to make sense now.
And he really didn't do much raising.
Yeah.
So basically what happened is when I was like 5, he came to visit, and he just left it by mistake. It was an accident.
Boom. Win.
Right. It was an accident.
Maybe it was an accident. Maybe it was meant to be.
I think it was meant to be.
Yeah.
And so for 7, 8 years, it just sat in its case. Same strings as the ones he left on it.
Wow. Oh.
And when I was 13, Mom and I lived outside of Albany for a few years. We lived in Savannah, Georgia. She got married, and then there was a gray period in their marriage, and they were separated, and we were back in Albany, like very suddenly. It was a very like tumultuous time in my life.
And you were how old then?
I was 13.
Yeah.
So hard time to just be like, just ripped from, whatever you could get used to. And it was just a whole situation. And we were really poor. Yeah. We were really broke. So we didn't have like cable. We didn't have internet that summer.
Yeah.
And it was Albany. I grew up there. So I had friends.
Sure.
But, I didn't have friends. I didn't feel super comfortable with expressing like how much pain I was in at the time.
Right. What was actually going on in your household.
And so, in the free time I had, I picked up my dad's guitar, and he had like this book of chords.
Sure.
And
just all the cowboy chords.
Just just all the chords. It was a great book. Mel Bay.
Mel Bay.
Yeah, love a Mel Bay book.
Had the same one.
And a thumb pick.
Oh, okay. I noticed that you were using that as well.
I suck with a flat pick. Oh. It is not a pretty. I mean, I can manage. There's some songs where I'm like kind of like chugging.
Well, I did notice that that you were using the thumb pick, and I noticed also that that's what gives you your sound.
Yep. And actually, Tired Man, typically I use a steel thumb pick, like a banjo thumb pick, which just kind of gives it even a little more grit.
A little brighter kind of attack. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the interaction.
Yeah, I had a set of picks like that, and I couldn't figure it out. It wasn't meant to be for me. But you were talking about having tough times, tumultuous times growing up, and finding music as an escape.
Well, and it's just like I could hyperfixate on it, and I picked it up so quickly.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because I was spending hours and hours and hours every single day. Like, I just totally fell in love with it. And my mom was so happy to see me kind of pour myself into it. It was only about like 6 or 7 months later that she kind of threw me up on a stage on the spot. And was like, my daughter plays the guitar. And I was like, I sort of play the guitar.
Well, that's another thing, too. I've been playing guitar since 1985. But I still can't sing and sound like you do. When did you figure out that you were able to sing and play? Because it's for me, it's like night and day, polar opposites. Pretty
much immediately.
Wow.
And I had tried so many different hobbies as a child. Mm-hmm. I mean, my mom, for being a single mom, she made sure that I got to try everything at least once.
Yeah.
Not athletic.
Yeah.
Good God.
Did you go through the ceramics phase?
No. Well,
we did.
we had this one store called the Clay Spot in Albany, and that was pretty dope. But
Yeah.
no, I mean horseback riding, soccer, basketball, cheerleading. I danced for 11 years, y'all.
Yeah.
I have no flexibility. I
Yeah.
am like a board. And I was still dancing
Yeah.
when I moved back to Albany. Like my mom was like, well, I know you're sad, but we'll put you in dance, so at least maybe you can. And at that point, I was so behind compared to everybody else
Right.
because we'd had to take breaks because of financial issues.
Yeah. And when you say dance, was this
Ballet.
Ballet.
Yeah,
Okay.
ballet and tap and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, for a long time I was like, I want to be a ballerina, but
Yeah. That's
it wasn't meant to be. But I picked up the guitar, and it just, I had never succeeded at something like that on my own. And everybody around me was so supportive.
Yeah, that's awesome. That, you know, it takes a village is a real deal in a small town, especially, you know, coming from a small town as well. It to me, maybe it's just perception. There's a feeling of the small town really wants you to go out and succeed. They want to say, "Hey, Hannah Murphy, she's from Albany." You know, there's something about the small town, and you see it on the American Idol stories all the time when they go back home and the two stop signs or a stoplight type towns, and the whole town is just really supportive because they want somebody to make it. You know.
Well, the same year I moved back to Albany and picked up the guitar was the same year that Philip Phillips went and won American Idol
Okay. Was he from?
Albany.
Albany,
He's from
yeah.
Leesburg,
Okay.
which is Albany.
Yeah. Okay. Around the corner. Yeah.
And so that was such a big experience, and I met him through like our church. I went to the same church that his sister was a part of, and she ran Mission Change, which is a community outreach program in Albany, Georgia, that really helps the youth and just a lot of people in the community that suffer with poverty. But anyways, I got to meet him in private and play him a song.
Yeah.
He told me to just keep practicing.
Yeah. Keep practicing.
So
Yeah.
I did.
Well. Well, he had a song called "Home," didn't he?
Yes, he did. He did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Oddly enough, the song is not about Albany.
Right. Fair enough.
It's about, I wrote it about a group of people that I met while I was traveling. I went to Europe by myself for like
Oh, wow.
3 months when I was 18.
What part of Europe?
All parts of Europe, but specifically the song is about a group of people I met in Budapest.
Okay.
But overall experiences I had when I was traveling alone, I just found myself so attached, and I just met some of the most incredible people, talked about just the most intimate things with people. And so the song is literally about like getting to love those people, even if it's for short amounts of time. And, you know, it's like the next day I'd be in another country and I'd probably never see them again. In some cases, I did see them again. I actually went to Australia and I went back to Budapest a couple times. And so I got to play them the song.
Oh, the after fact.
So cool.
Nice.
Such a cool experience.
Yeah.
But the song's kind
Budapest and Hungary. It's a really cool area. I mean, we did a little bit of traveling as well. Went to Denmark and England and did some touring. And sometimes what you're saying is true. Meeting people that you assume that you'll never see again opens up your ability to just talk 100% honestly with these people. And whereas people that you know and you're around quite often where you live, you would never say to talk about those things.
I definitely did a lot of growing up on that trip
Yeah.
because, you know, just like going out and drinking and meeting people and just being an adult for the first time. Well, maybe not the first time.
Right.
But, you know, illegal, just super independent.
Yeah. What did they say about your accent?
It kind of subdued itself a little
Sure.
when I was over there.
Yeah. Well, you don't have a big accent, but for
it
them,
comes out when
it
I
would be-
talk to mom.
Sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
I get on the phone and I'm like, hey, mama, what's going on?
Yeah.
I get off the phone and I'm like, damn, she crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's driving me nuts.
Yeah, that's funny. I get on a phone call with my buddies from North Carolina, and my wife was like, I couldn't even understand anything they were saying. I was like, she goes, you could understand them? I was like, every word.
Every word.
You know?
No, they loved it. And music was a big part of what made that
Sure.
friendship grow. I played a lot of music in Europe, actually.
Yeah. Did they do like the drum circles or the acoustic guitar circles with the?
They had an open mic
Oh, okay.
in Budapest.
Wow.
And so we got to all go and just like hang out. And then I was like, yeah, I play.
Yeah.
Got up and I
That's
did
awesome.
my thing. It was super cool.
Isn't it kind of cool, like in a setting like that, or where people that may have known me for many years don't know this side of me, and then they'll come out and they'll be like, "I had no idea."
Had that happen a lot in
it's almost
ad
like
life.
a hidden superpower.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and I feel this weird like detachment from it sometimes where when I'm done performing and I'm out, bartending and
Yeah.
going to school, like I never forget that it's there, but
Right.
it doesn't even feel, it feels like a completely different,
Side
the
of you.
most authentic, but a very different person than who
Sure.
I get to be.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing more real than pouring your soul out over a song, is there?
Oh yeah.
All right. So this one's called Home. Let's run this one, and we'll see you on the other side.
Oh yeah. I think I'm gonna tune up just real quick if that's okay.
Yeah. Dude.
As opposed to the alternative, which is not being in tune. Could I have just a little bit more guitar in my monitors?
Yep.
Ah, dang it. She squeaked.
Yep. Do you do the stretch thing?
I don't. I guess I should start. Is that just like stretching them out regularly?
Well, no. Like after it squeaks like that, just grab that string and just kind of pull it. Now it's there. You go. Now it's gonna be flat, and you'll work your way back up to being perfect. Anytime you hear a squeak like that, do that little trick, and it'll settle it back down.
Yeah, this song we're recording right now, and it has proven to be, well, it's longer. I mean,
Okay.
I'll probably make it short for
No,
this
you
purpose,
can. This is a no time limit. Play the song as you intend it.
but playing it without singing it was something I did not do until this past Thursday.
Oh.
When
okay.
I went in and started doing it. And so like 5.5 minutes of just, it's all finger picking, very specific.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow, it
Yeah.
is difficult.
Yeah.
I'm like, who wrote this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was me.
When you're before you get into it, when you're doing your finger picking with the right hand, do you ever get cramps in your forearm?
Cramps in my,
In your left hand?
you know what? Because I was so concentrated in the studio that day, because I kept messing up, I definitely did. But I try to keep this flowing as best as I can.
Yeah,
But yeah, after a while,
yeah.
for sure.
A lot of people that are either wanting to start to play guitar or beginners on playing guitar, they'll ask me about playing, and it's like the magic is in the right hand.
It is. And I tell people that too. Like, you just got to keep it
That's the
loose.
rhythm.
And I think that's where I struggle with a flat pick.
Yeah.
Because I think
Well,
just
you're-
the constant, like, there's a little bit more movement of the whole arm
Yeah,
versus like finger picking where I can rest this and really like
right. Intricately.
just more so move my
Yeah.
fingers.
Are you a good typer?
I'll do.
Yeah. Okay. I always wondered if people that can PIMA, finger pick really well, are really good fast typers with that right hand,
When
or
I-
keyboard players. Can you imagine?
I'm a pretty good piano player.
Are you?
Yeah. I mean, introductory.
Yeah, but I mean, will you be putting your own keys
Yes.
down? Okay.
So there are songs that no one's ever heard live because I've written them on the piano.
Okay.
And so I'm really,
All
really
right.
excited. But
I love it. All right, home. Here we go.
You say a valley, you say a hole. I say a valley, and I say my soul. Let's go and find ourselves somewhere. You say a river, and space. I see the river, and I see my way to always go back home. You can always go back home. So let me love you. So let me love you till I'm gone. Valleys and rivers, skies and stones make me feel at home. So let me take you home. You see a mountain and you see stone. I see a mountain and I see my hope. Let the rain and heart, I'm here to grow. And it's nice to know that I'm not so alone. So let me love you. So let me love you till I'm gone. Valleys and rivers, skies and stones make me feel at home. So let me take you home. Now I see sky, I slip away. I feel that blue on my face. Won't you hold my hand until my time is through? Please don't say goodbye. I wanna stand by you. Oh, no. Oh, so let me love you. So let me love you until I'm gone. Oh, valleys and rivers, skies and stones, they make me feel like I'm not so alone. I'll climb that mountain, I'll touch that blue, and I will do it all for you. So let me love you. So let me love you until I'm gone. Ooh, valleys and rivers, skies and stones make me feel at home. So let me take you home. There you go.
That's awesome. I'm telling you.
I lost my monitor.
Yeah, I saw it come out, and I saw you not even flinch. So that's
I was like, oh, there we go.
that's the win. Did it help you to be able to kind of hear the acoustic better, or?
It did. I don't think I'm getting much in this one though.
Okay.
I don't know whether that's. I'm not a tech person.
Yeah, just go up and over, and then in, and you should be good.
Every open mic I do, like open mic at
Yeah,
a bar,
sure.
there's always some sort of something.
Yeah.
So this is right in line with it, actually.
Yeah.
Monitor falling out, or like I have a grounding problem in this guitar right here. I have had to like get a bunch of people to look at it because I don't want to buy a new one.
Well, I hear nothing but clean. I mean, both of your guitars sound fantastic.
Yeah, shout out to Rich from Sam Ash, Avocado Parkway.
Sure.
Who took this whole thing apart with very tender love and care.
Yeah.
And fixed it for me.
Yeah, it's kind of important for your instruments to not have static, not have ground issues or anything like that.
It was like some random tiny little thing.
That's always what it is, But when you're doing open mics and stuff, this is kind of a different type of setting because we've got a closed environment. We've got in-ears. There's no open speakers, so there's no issues for feedback.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that.
Especially being an acoustic artist, how do you deal with getting comfortable sound coming from the monitors, but not having feedback? Have you?
I mean, I try to be as low maintenance possible, maybe even to a fault.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've gotten so lucky with my relationships with the people that run open mics, like Chip Jones.
Yeah.
Is just fantastic. I mean, he wants us to sound really good,
right?
And
sure.
so he cares about how we feel about it. I've never really run into too many hitches with it. Now, running my own sound.
Right. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Is the death sentence is having your floor monitor so loud that your acoustic guitar will start to feedback.
Yeah.
Do you have the feedback eliminators? Do you know what those are?
So when I gig, I have one big. It's like a tower Boseman.
Sure.
Like it's just one.
Yeah.
And I put it behind me.
Gotcha.
So more so, what happens is like the microphone will pick it up.
Right.
But I try to just put it to the side. But yeah, I do have a feedback eliminator on that, which is nice.
It's the little rubber thing that goes inside the sound hole. Have you seen those?
Oh no, I just have like a setting on my amp. See, you gotta write these things down for me.
No, I'm gonna show you this one because I don't play a lot of acoustic guitar, but when I do, I'm in in a rock band, so it still tends to be kind of loud. And the only thing that I found that will work on my talk is it's called the feedback. I think it's a feedback eliminator or something. It's a rubber thing that goes in your sound hole.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah,
for sure, but I've never owned one.
Yeah, well, I'll show you one. We got to make sure that you have one of those in your bag, just in case for those things.
That's sweet. Yeah, I love getting to perform, especially music to an audience that really appreciates it. I mean, there's just nothing better. Yeah. Except playing to an audience that really relates to it. And usually they're sprinkled in that audience.
Yeah,
too.
I think that's the biggest connection is when when you're playing a show. If you've got a big crowd, great. But if they're not connecting with what you're doing, okay, they're ordering hamburgers medium well and their drinks and everything. Yep. But when you can hear a pin drop, which was that night that I saw you, the pins were dropping that night.
It was so magical.
Yeah,
that was my first really big performance that I'd done in a long time, and there was a lot riding on that for me. I really wanted to show Mad Life that like I could bring a crowd because I would love to headline a show there with a band. Period.
Right.
And that's what I would like to start doing. And I have some musicians, for lack of a better term, in my back pocket who are just so phenomenal and wonderful and have been so supportive of me over the last few years who love my music. Yep. So I would love to, like I said, community effort, like bring everybody in and then go do this big show.
That's essentially how you do it. You write some music, you get people on board that are into the music that you are doing, and then you put together shows. Now, it's a slow process because you're going to start with, we've got 30 minutes. We got a 30-minute show that's tight and strong. Then we have a 45-minute. Then we have a 60-minute, and then working your way up to a 90-minute show takes
a lot of work.
It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. But like I with my guys, it's like once you have it done and you have it there, nobody can take it away from you.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things that have kind of kept me from really nailing. Well, one of them is practice space.
Right.
Like I don't have a practice space for a full band.
Right.
And I don't want to like put that on somebody else.
Right. Well, that's
But also finding the right musicians.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, with that, you wouldn't want a guy that plays, 80s shred guitar, playing on these types of songs. You wouldn't want a keyboard player that's used to doing synths and
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
even just like
organic players. You need organic
yeah.
type
And
players.
I've been playing by myself for a long time.
Sure.
And I have an idea of what I want this to sound like.
Yeah,
And if you can't give that to me,
yeah, yeah. And don't settle.
I won't.
Don't settle.
I mean, at this point, it's been so long.
Yeah.
I kind of refuse. I guess I am kind of a diva in that way.
Well, you have to be a diva when it's your own material.
But I feel like that's a respectable thing to be picky about. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I mean, it's it's these are your babies, and
Well, and I want people who will enjoy playing like I don't want to make somebody change their entire playing style
Right.
just to suit.
and that would actually
me.
be counterproductive for everybody
Exactly.
involved anyway.
Exactly. And it probably wouldn't sound as good as it could if somebody enjoyed
Right.
playing soft folk, then jazz, then funk, then bluegrass.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want somebody to really enjoy it.
You mentioned Alison Krauss. I don't know if we were on the air then or I don't think we were. Alison Krauss did a few Grammy-winning albums with Robert Plant, right?
Yep.
Is that kind of the orchestration of instrument type sound that you're looking for, or?
In some ways, yes, but actually my big pull from Alison Krauss is actually the album she did with Union Station,
Okay.
New Favorite. So that actually has a lot of steel pedal in
Okay.
there and just some of the best like acoustic steel string.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Billy Strings?
I love Billy
Okay.
Strings.
Yeah. I mean, how can
my
you?
gosh.
How can you not? The
I
guy's.
saw Billy Strings live 2 years ago and
Yeah.
it changed my life.
Yeah, I saw him a year ago, I think, and it changed my life too. I was like, I didn't know that you could use those types of guitar pedals on an acoustic.
He has a song called In the Morning Light, and
Yeah.
it is just the sweetest, most beautiful song. And if somebody doesn't write a song like that for me,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
yeah, I mean, wow, what an incredible artist. And I just love bluegrass, and I love.
yeah.
I love
it's very
the-
authentic.
You don't have to play bluegrass to draw inspiration from bluegrass,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. Where I grew up, Doc Watson lived in our town, and so the Merle Fest up in the mountains of North Carolina, they do it every year, and some big players go up there. But I mean, that's the backbone of bluegrass up there,
that's the good stuff.
But yeah, I mean, the flat picking that you think people think Eddie Van Halen's like really amazing and fast. You watch Billy Strings and some of these flat picking bluegrass players, and it's like, whoa.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
So good. But yeah, Alison Krauss, her voice and
Yeah.
just it's so beautiful and the production quality, like the type of production she had on that album is
Yeah.
something I take a lot of inspiration from too. Like I'm like sending my people, my friends who are helping me record.
Yeah. In the vein of this is what yeah.
I'm like, I know that it's asking a lot.
Yeah. But can it be done?
Can it be done?
Yeah.
And they're having a fun time trying to help
Yeah.
me.
Are you doing any are you doing any stand-up bass or
If I can find an
or-
upright bassist, yes.
I've got a
absolutely.
guy.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I love that sound. I love the way it looks. And actually, when I first started performing, there was a lot of that.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see, and I've also got a guy that I know that's a really good lap steel type player too. I mean, he's
I'm gonna need that
top
information.
notch guy. Yeah.
Because imagine some like steel on Tired Man.
Yeah, yeah. I hear all of that. Yeah.
That's a beautiful, yummy instrument that I just don't think I could teach myself how to play.
Well, the
So-
the pedal steel is different from the lap steel because you've got the ability to bend strings with the foot pedals, which to me, it's like, okay, whoever came up with that was like, okay, this instrument's not hard enough as it is. Let's add algebra to where you can bend half steps and stuff, and they make it sound like amazing. So, yeah, it's a really cool instrument for sure. So that was Tired Man, and that was Home. What have you got this time?
I'm gonna play Problem Starter.
Okay. What's the background on that one?
So it's kind of my newest song that I've played so far. I wrote it back in March, maybe February of this year. I think everybody struggles with relationships for whatever reason. I mean, you meet somebody and you're bringing in your entire life with it. And for some people, that baggage is heavier than others. And for me, I really struggle with being vulnerable with people romantically, which is kind of crazy because, you know, I get up on stage and I sing my entire heart out. And I think that's what makes it hard. Right. Is like, there's only one thing more scary than performing in a crowd full of people, you know, your most intimate thoughts. And that's like doing it with one person. Yeah. And so, yeah, I was seeing somebody and I just had these really strong feelings towards them. We would just argue all the time. And it just felt like maybe I enjoyed the arguing a little bit too much. Yeah. And obviously, you know, that didn't last. Yeah. And I've come to realize that I am, in fact, not the problem starter. But at the time, you know, I was being very humble about, like, my experience with knowing what my habits were in relationships, which was like, I have this need to be hyper independent, stand my ground. I'm not going to let anybody walk all over me. You want to argue with me? Fine. Step up to the plate because we're going to argue. Yeah. I'm not playing around. Yeah. And that, I think there's a lot of really admirable qualities in that, but when it comes to being intimate and vulnerable with people, it can also be a bit of a distraction. Sure. And I have really struggled with that. So this is like the first really like love song that I had written in a long time. And it's kind of like an anti-love song.
I like it.
So.
Yeah, you got to know when to choose your battles. That's the.
When to just accept that maybe this is just not compatible.
You know, arguing over dinner, not the hill to die on.
And I was surprised though. This song is very simple in nature, in structure. Like it is C, G. I mean, it is very folky. Sure. But I fell in love with it. It built itself in like 15 minutes, and those are always the good ones. So.
All right, you little problem starter. Let's see what you got.
So afraid of the fall, I jumped to get it over with. Was there even a fall, or did I just create it? 'Cause yes, I got high and the calm down hurt, but it didn't kill me like I thought it would. Feeling good is overrated. Wouldn't last very long, time just wouldn't have it. Right in one place, but the tag had me scratching. Oh, to send it all back with a receipt. Happiness feels like deceit. I guess I'll lead alone out of habit. I could never hate you, and I know you don't have hate for me. You ever seen a tree with flowers and thorns? Who says pick me, but please be warned. I'll make you bleed, but I'll keep you warm and angry. And maybe even all of that wouldn't even be the problem. You could be my escape, and together we could solve them. But if you raise your voice at me, I'd raise mine too. I'd hit the floor and be so blue. Or I could choose to leave before our car's done. Happy things ain't good for writing songs these days. But a day without you fills up my entire page. Maybe more than one, more than two. It's only been a day, whatever else to do but write about the very thing I started. Ooh, and maybe even all of that wouldn't even be the problem. You could be my escape, and together we could solve them. But if you raise your voice at me, I'd raise mine too. I'd hit the floor and be so blue. Or I could choose to leave before I crossed down. But if you raise your voice at me, I'd raise mine too. To see something good become so cruel. Or I could choose to leave. There you go.
That sounds very good.
Also, my left monitor finally kicked in.
Mine did too. Mine went out and then it came back in. I don't know.
I was like, oh, hello.
Yeah, it's kind of helpful when you can hear both sides. But man, that acoustic guitar sounds so good. A little bit of EQ and a little bit of reverb. And
This is a very nice. This is another one that
Yeah.
my dad. This is another. Yeah, they're both my dad's.
they're not anymore. Sorry,
Yeah.
Dad.
Well, he collected guitars for a long time, and he was a great classical guitar player. And he just,
What are his thoughts about what you're doing?
when I first started, it was like we finally had something
Right.
to talk about.
Right.
Because up until I was 14, I didn't really see him much.
Yeah.
And when I did see him, he was messed up. He has like a really big like addiction problem.
Sure.
That's kind of like a common theme in
Yeah.
a lot of my music, I think, is
Yeah.
singing about that.
That's your truth. I mean, that's,
But yeah, he would come to visit when we moved back to Albany. I basically didn't hear from him the whole time we didn't live there.
right.
So like 4 years.
Sure.
Didn't see him, didn't hear from him, nothing.
Yeah.
And so came back, and there were just things that we got to do together. Like he got to teach me how to play Stairway to Heaven,
Sure.
and Blackbird, and some classical guitar music as well, just by ear.
Right. And you were at that point as a guitar player that you could understand what he's trying to show you.
I mean, it was more like I was just such a copy and paste. Like I could see him playing it,
Yeah.
and I would practice, and that was what we did together. And that was really beautiful for a while. But loving someone with like active addiction is really hard.
Yeah.
And so and I've had a long journey with music. There were a whole bunch of things, obstacles, barriers, circumstances that made me at some point or another just not want to touch it at all.
Touch guitar?
Didn't want to perform,
Yeah.
didn't want to write, didn't want to sing. I didn't want to be perceived. I was just so hurt from, I think, starting so young and being exposed to a lot at a young age
Yeah.
in the music industry, that after a while, like I couldn't even stand playing guitar with my dad.
Right.
And there's a little bit of regret in there because he's really still quite sick with
Yeah.
his issues, and now he's lost like all feelings in his like arms. He like can't play.
no.
So he sold all his guitars.
Oh.
And so I pretty much have the last like 2 like vintage,
Yeah.
really old ones.
Sure.
And I also happen to have the 2 that get better the older they.
Yeah. Well, I saw a picture of you with some sort of a white telly. There's like
Yeah.
a white telly
Yeah.
with a card or something.
Yeah, so that was my friend Jacob Harshman. He's a great musician. That was his Telecaster. I've always wanted a Telecaster.
Yeah.
I want a Telecaster, an off-white Telecaster so bad. And he
Yeah.
put that in and actually it was crazy. Obviously not plugged in because we were in a parking lot.
Right.
It had a great sound, not even plugged in.
Right.
I was like,
That's how you know. That's how you know it's a good one.
but yeah, when I go and do the jams, like the open
Yeah.
jams, I don't bring an acoustic guitar. They give me an
Plain electric.
And I have a blast.
Yeah.
It's
How
so
do
fun.
how do you translate? Do you still pick the same?
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much. I'll take one of these up there.
Right.
It's just I just play better.
Yeah.
And the stakes are higher for me because it's a little out of my element.
Yeah.
Just the whole dynamic, electric with a full band, and the musicians that go to those jams are so amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of good players in town for sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's polar opposite for me. You give me my acoustic, and it's like, oh no, like it's like kryptonite. I don't have. Where's my delay? Where's my smoke and mirrors? Where's my distortion?
Well,
But
the resistance of this, like, of these strings
Yeah.
that comes because of the gauge and the type of like metal that they're wound with.
yeah, you use bronze strings. What are you using?
They're phosphorus bronze
Okay.
strings.
Yeah.
But just, and keep in mind that I learned on a guitar with strings that hadn't been changed in like 7
Right.
years.
Yeah.
So just the resistance and the feeling
Yeah.
of the strings and the dynamics down here versus up here. I mean, those are just things that I'm used to.
Yeah.
So with an electric guitar, it kind of feels like I'm like oiled up.
Yeah, it's like
Just
liquid, right?
moving around a lot. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I get why, because it's like if I was gonna sit there and do like solos and
Yeah.
which I would love to. I've always wanted to be one of those badass guitar chicks.
Yeah.
We're not there yet. Not saying I won't get there,
Yeah.
but we're not
Yeah.
there yet.
You know, do you have an electric that you can play around with?
I don't. I
Yeah.
did. And then my brother, who is musical as well,
Yeah.
lent me a Gibson Les Paul for a couple years.
Sure.
And that was super fun. But no, I don't own one. I'm in the market for an off-white Telecaster.
Gotcha. I'll play Telecaster.
Yeah.
Because as far as what you were just talking about, you know, working on playing solos and scales and doing that kind of thing, the biggest thing that I can say for any guitar player that wants to do that is YouTube is full of backing tracks in whatever key you want to play. You want to play in G minor, G major, C sharp. You want to play whatever E, D.
Yeah.
They're all there, and you can just plug in. And I've got a whole 90-minute show of just backing tracks. I was going to do a thing called the wood shred, and it was like open mic for just guitar players to come up and play on backing tracks. And I'd have 2 guitar rigs, and just anybody can come up and shred.
Well, and the thing is I can pick a scale out.
Yeah.
But I don't know it like the back of my hand,
Mm-hmm.
like the way some of these fantastic
Yeah.
musicians that I've seen perform, like Jacob's great,
Mm-hmm.
Cody Matlock's great. They're
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah,
That's who runs those jams, you know. So
Yeah.
it's like for some, you know, somebody like Cody Matlock to take his guitar off and give it to me.
yeah.
I'm like,
Well, I mean that's
this is heavy.
Where-
Like,
what-
wow.
what venues are doing the open
So
mics.
there's a bar called Monkey Barrel out in Marietta.
Yeah, I think I saw.
I go like almost every Thursday because
Yeah.
it's such a good kind of watering hole for
Yeah.
musicians just getting off their gigs. And,
Yeah.
you know, they're so good about sharing the stage and subbing out. And
That's on
switching out.
Thursday nights.
From like 10 to 1.
Wow.
And then, you know, Smiths and Northside do theirs
Yeah.
on Mondays. And
Eddie's Attic would be an obvious place for you to be headlining.
so I won that
Yeah.
songwriter competition.
Okay.
I won their shootout
Okay.
when I was 20.
Right.
So about 5 years ago. And I don't know if they would honor it, but part of that was a headlining show. And
Yeah.
the reason why I haven't done that is because I wanted to curate the perfect show.
Right.
So perfectionism at its worst,
Yeah.
really.
Paralysis by analysis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have the perfect little 3-piece up there with me.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted a lead guitar player that could perfectly, respectfully
Yeah. Play the parts.
accentuate
Yeah.
everything I wanted. Maybe a bass player. And I really went through a hard time with figuring out what I wanted from music.
Right.
And so for me, I didn't want to play that show until I knew exactly what I wanted from
Right.
it. Because I have so much respect for that place. And winning that competition was such a huge dream and
Yeah.
a huge goal and something I did not think was going to happen.
Yeah.
It was so surprising to me, and it didn't even feel real.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a singer-songwriter mecca in the city of
It
Atlanta.
was a dream. I mean, the Civil War is huge inspiration for me.
Yeah.
You know, first time I ever listened to them was their live set at Eddie's Attic.
Right.
And it just felt like this really big mountain to get over. And when I got over it, I was like, okay, now what? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Well, I mean, what about just like uh, a duo, another guitar player.
Yeah, I would
Um,
be open to that for sure.
yeah,
Just something to kind of help broaden the sound, someone for me to
but
kind
I'm
of.
telling you, you don't need it.
That's what
You
everybody
really
says,
don't
and I
need it.
love that, but I can't get it out of my
Yeah.
head. But I would love to. I'll
What?
have to call them up and be
Yeah.
like,
What
hey,
is their set length for a headliner?
I would think at least an hour,
Yeah, 60.
and I could do that.
Yeah.
Easy. I mean, I
Just polish the 60 and go down there and kill them. That's all you got to do.
that'd be so fun.
That's what you have to do. That's your homework.
Yeah, that's my homework.
That's your homework for.
Yeah. Stop making excuses.
Yeah,
Just
there's
do
no
it.
time for excuses.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you'll be my age and you'll be like, "Damn, I wish I'd have played Eddie's Attic again."
No, I think I have my confidence has grown so much
Yeah.
in the last like year and a half, just from finally getting
Yeah, you're ready.
finally getting into the studio again and like revisiting these tender moments. I just had some really terrible experiences
Yeah,
that
that's called life.
I think for a long time I really had like PTSD
Yeah,
about like
that could be.
working with other people.
Uh-huh.
Straight up, it was really hard for me because it's like I would perform, I would do my own thing, and everything would be fine. And
Yeah.
I'd have other musicians be like, "Come by and let's work together," and I would go and work with them, and I would just like totally. I was unprepared. I was frazzled. I was nervous. I literally could not function well.
Yeah,
I had like no desire, and it was really like hard for me.
right. And that was on your material?
Yeah, because I couldn't. I struggled so much with like standing up for what I wanted,
Yeah. Oh, okay, I got you.
and I didn't. Yeah, I just really.
When things started to go a little bit different from what you were expecting it to do, that would set you off probably internally.
Yeah, there was some panic for
Yeah.
sure, and it's like no disrespect to the people that I was
Sure.
working with, but
Well, you have to get used to.
I had to heal.
Yeah.
I did a lot of healing.
As an artist, though, unless you're by yourself, and you have to learn how to play in the sandbox together. And what I mean by that is, as soon as you start getting four, in my case with Hope's Anchor, you got four guys. Everybody's got great ideas. That idea might not be great for this song. Somebody's got to be able to tell that person nicely, that's a great part for another song. Let's put that away, and how about this one? And those type of interactions can either cause beautiful music to be made. It can cause chaos in the band, and bands don't last. I've been in Hope's Anchor for almost 17 years,
That's
something like that.
impressive.
And the only way that can be is when everybody is a shareholder of ideas, and we do this together. But there is another project, my Giza project, which is I needed an all me project.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody to tell me this is good, that's not good. I'm just I need to do something for myself, and I think that's kind of what your experience, the opposite of going from solo to working in the sandbox.
I mean, like I said, I was a really young 13, 14, 15-year-old girl
Yeah.
playing in bars,
Yeah,
interacting with mostly male musicians
sure.
who were weirdly possessive.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know any other word to call
That's
it.
obviously
And to have like, my music, even at that young of an age, kind of be like taken and hoarded.
yeah,
My time.
yeah,
And it's actually really rare still as an adult woman in this industry to experience musicians that aren't like that.
yeah, sure.
And so, and obviously now that I've kind of worked up the confidence with the help of my friends
Yeah,
and the people who are helping me record, who are like, you need to tell me what you want.
yeah,
This is a safe space.
right.
Now, I'm not going to put up with that sort of stuff. But when
Right.
I was younger, like,
Sure, yeah. As a kid, I mean, you were a kid, so. But I take from that story that, man, you were writing stuff when you were 13 years old that had grown ass musicians going, damn, I want to be a part of that,
Yeah.
and that's a good thing but it's also a creepy thing, you know. So
Well,
I get where you probably
had a lot. When you say I had a lot of hometown support, I mean it was kind of a double-edged sword,
yeah
right?
yeah
We're like, oh, we want her to succeed. It's like, well, maybe I should also be in school
yeah
and like having a normal childhood.
yeah. But who's to say what's normal
But
childhood anymore?
no regrets.
Yeah.
I'm super happy with where I'm at right now. This is so
Yeah.
fun. Doing the Mad Life show was so fun.
Yep.
Recording these songs that are so close to me is so fun. Building up my arsenal of
Yeah,
just
keep writing.
talented people
Yep.
and also music. I mean,
Yep.
the anthology
Yeah.
is long, and it makes me feel like I want to do this so badly. And now I'm not afraid to want to do this too, right?
Right. Well, I think that you're ready. I think your songs are um, they're top notch as far as composition, as far as what you're singing about, how you're singing them. Everything is there. It's just time to, like you said, either put the group of musicians together around you to be the band. And just so you know, you are the band leader.
Yep.
This is your baby. You're steering the ship.
And I feel a lot more comfortable with doing that
Yeah.
now than I did even 2 years ago.
Yeah, sure.
I'm tough.
Yeah, well, you got to be.
And
Yeah.
I'm honest,
Yeah.
and I'm really happy that I've hit that point in my life.
I'm glad you have too. I can't wait to watch and see what happens.
I can't wait
down
for
the
that
road.
headlining show at Eddie's Attic.
Yeah. Well, do you have another one to play us out?
I do, and it is kind of about what I was talking on, just kind of healing
Yeah.
through music, even healing from music through music a little bit.
Yeah.
And everything else in between. It's a song called Old Medicine.
I was going to say, it is a bitter pill.
Yes. And I did not play this at Mad Life
Right.
because I just really wanted to focus on other songs that I was recording. But this song in particular will be a big band song.
Okay.
So
There she squeaks.
she
Now
squeaks.
just pull that string up a little bit, and it'll be flat again.
Aha.
Or land perfect.
Yeah, the action in this guitar is super, super low, which is great, but sometimes it can make tuning like
Yeah.
an ordeal.
Hey, while you're tuning up there, as you're playing, I think it was Problem Starter. It might have been Home. Also, I'm not sure which one it was. But are you thinking about the chord progression, the walk down part? Are you thinking about what keys these are in? Are you thinking about patterns? How do you approach, as you're playing the guitar?
As I'm playing it,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the only thing I'm thinking about when I'm playing is what I was thinking about when I wrote the song.
Right.
I really go like away for a little bit.
Right.
And I love that.
Time travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in a way that's not, I mean, obviously some of these songs talk about pain and they talk about hurt.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool for me to go and revisit those things, but not take that hurt back with me when I come to
Yeah,
it.
when you
You know,
come-
it's
yeah.
not like I'm re-experiencing it, but I can look at it objectively and really let it move me
Yeah.
in a way that I think makes the performance of them a little bit better.
So you're thinking more about the lyric and where you were when you wrote it than,
Yeah.
all right, I'm doing a chromatic walk down from C, and.
Yeah. I mean, some of my more, actually, what's funny is songs like Home, which have there's a whole lot
Yeah.
of everything going
Yeah.
on.
I noticed a descending walk down thing that you did
Yeah.
on there. Yeah.
I don't even know what those notes are.
Right.
I just played them and was like, that'll do.
So are you thinking about your form, your fretting form, and what fret you're starting on to do the walk down?
Yeah.
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 That's kind of how I approach it as well.
Yeah. And just, there are certain notes in the song that are really important that I hit
Right.
too.
Sure.
In Home and Problem Starter, like there's a really big emphasis on like that bass note.
Yeah. Hit
'cause-
that again. That's a beautiful chord. It's F major sus or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it sounds so good.
I love this guitar. This has been such a great gigging guitar
Yeah.
because I about ripped that one to shreds.
Yeah.
It's really delicate guitar. And so
Yeah,
this
the parlor one?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this one was kind of my like,
Yeah.
it already had a pickup in it.
Yeah.
It was a little sturdier. which
Nice.
is good for me. But yeah, this song's called Old Medicine. It's a jazzy tune.
Okay.
And it is a song I play with the boys on Thursday nights at Monkey Barrel from time to time.
Okay.
So it's fun.
Monkey Barrel, Marietta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Thursday nights, 10 to 1.
Old medicine, you creep right in and fix me yet again. When this whole world is hurting me, and the river of my grief overflows with all my sins. A different kind of spin. The way you move and make me try again. The way you reach down in my soul after nightmares take their toll and threaten all I've built within. Ooh. I tried the booze, they gave me pills to try to kill what made me feel so far gone and unfulfilled. How does anybody heal? On the edge, don't know what's real. When you're hungry, you must steal. Got my arms up while I kneel. Help me up, Lord, I'm ill. I need old medicine. Oh, old medicine. Won't you put your magic on me? Old medicine, the way I see it all so clear, my friend. Whether I cry or try to scream, you walk the lonely line with me together till the bitter end. Ooh, old medicine. 'Cause in the darkness I see a light. What once was ashes caught on fire. Through the fog and through the mire. Don't need no man to take me higher. In the depths of my desire stands a happy, well-loved child. Broke the rules and won her trials. And some long and empty miles to heal the wounds that cut us deep. The type of pain no one can see. Sometimes to heal we got to bleed. I've been brought down to my knees. I need old medicine. Oh, no medicine. Won't you put your magic on me? Ooh, oh, medicine. Won't you put your magic on me? Ooh, no. Oh, medicine, no. No.
Awesome.
There you go.
Old medicine. I love that one too. Hey, I'm a fan. I've just decided I'm a fan.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I know I'm chatty and I talk a lot, but
Well, that's the point of a podcast. Yeah, so let's we're gonna go out. Let's get some shots for you'll have a logo, you'll have some photos, and,
that's so
and we'll get this
cool.
posted up on the internet. And like I said, if there's anything I can do to help, I will help. And I definitely would like to be a part of Tired Man,
yeah,
and maybe come out to a Thursday show at.
Monkey Barrel.
Yeah, I got to get up at 5 a.m. on Friday, so that's the bummer.
Well, you know,
That's the bummer.
I will buy you a coffee.
Yeah, I need 6 coffees for that one. But Well, we'll see. Maybe.
I'll buy you 2.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Well, Hannah, thank you for being on the Original Music Podcast. One of my favorite episodes so far. And just keep us posted. We'll get this out on the internet, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Have a good night.
You're watching the Original Music Podcast with your hosts Raymond Hems and Rick Gaffman.